Right. I am so excited right now. You guys, my name is Melissa Gratz. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is our new The Inspired Women Inspire Women series. And we have somebody very special today sitting down with me to share her heart, her mind, and, her swagger with us. And so if you're new to this series, I just want to tell you, this is something that was born out of me being inspired by another leader within Scentsy, but taking time to sit down with women that have a voice and have a platform to change the world. And we, some people make fun of us for saying change the world, but we're changing our world. We're changing our world, the world that we know. And so to have access to women that do that, I think is powerful and important. And we have voices, and we have voices to be heard and voices to share. And so that is where this was born out of. I am extremely excited to introduce all of you to Chloe Cox. She is going to tell you who she is, why we should care who she is, and we'll start there. So Chloe, thank you so much for sitting down with me this morning. I appreciate you. I know that those that are tuning in are excited to hear from you. They're excited for me to ask you some questions. And so tell us, first and foremost, who are you? Who is Chloe Cox? Why should we care who you are? Tell us.
Who am I? So first of all, Melissa, thank you so much for having me. You truly are one of those people in Scentsy that people look at and they can just feel that you care so much about a human being. And it's funny because you said change the world, and that's actually been on my heart since the day I started leadership in Scentsy. So I guess why should you guys care? Probably because just to get right into it, I've never felt like I was worth caring. Like I never felt like I was worth, I didn't matter, that my story didn't matter. I grew up kind of in the shadow of my sister, taking care of her. So to me, I kind of like, I guess you could say I'm like a humanitarian in the sense of I want everyone to feel what I've fought to earn and deserve. And that I feel like every woman and every man in this world, they deserve to feel valued, and they deserve to feel like they have a freaking place, and that they before I get into it, like I just feel like I'm positioned here not because I was like because I wanted to be here, but because I'm meant to be here. I feel like it's a part of my vision, a part of my destiny. There's been a lot of ups and downs, which I'm sure we'll talk about today, and it's just built who I am. So what was your next question, Melissa? Because I don't want to go off into a tangent.
Hey, and this is your tangent to go off on, because this is spotlighting you. For once in my life, I'm not going to talk as much. And so, but we want to know who you are. Like, who are you? A mom? Are you a wife? Did you tell us? Who are you and what led you to Scentsy?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had anybody ask me that question ever in my life. Who am I? And it makes me emotional because, again, for a long time, I just felt like I really didn't matter. Even with my dad, I love him so much, but when he calls me, he asks me like about my sales. So I grew up in that kind of household, like just get it done. So anyways, I'm a mom of two. I have a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old. And one thing that I have been fighting for since the day I had them, and why Scentsy ignited just this whole other journey that I knew I had to cut through, was because I wanted them to be raised differently than me. I come from a broken family. My parents split when I was 9. Abusive household, real like physical abuse, mental abuse. And so again, when I had my kids, I'll never forget, like when I had Brody, I started Scentsy when I was pregnant with Brody. And I didn't feel like a powerful woman. So who am I? I'm a powerful damn woman now. I have grown into the power that God's given me. Like I've grown to be strong. I was broken though. I was a very typical broken family, abusive dad. I love my dad so much, but he knows the story. And not towards me, but with my mother. And then my mom kind of went off and was a really not the best mom. I haven't spoken to her in 4 years, my biological mom. And so again, when I had my kids, when I had my son, I remember looking at him, and I used to be a nurse, retired 4 years next month, retired 4 freaking years next month. But I remember coming home when I first started working and just feeling like I was just missing what I was supposed to be doing. I felt that way very early on as a nurse. And when I had Brody, I had started Scentsy right before I had Brody. And I just remember looking at these moms that did Scentsy, looking at Colette, looking at these mothers and being like, wait a minute, like they're strong, they're powerful, but they're kind. And I'm very hard. I'm a very hard exterior, very hard interior too. So I'm not just hard on the outside, the inside, there's a lot going on. And so, and again, I wasn't raised by a woman. I was raised by my dad. So I was not used to being around strong women. I was used to being around a broken woman. My mom was very broken. Still to this day, like we don't speak because it is what it is. But I remember seeing Wendy Newgas was one of the first people that came up to me actually. And I remember she made me feel valued. And she made me feel like a powerful woman, like not powerful in the sense of, oh, I can do this and they can't do this. But she showed me like, here, I'm going to grab your hand. I know you're pregnant. Nobody knows you. I can tell that you're not into this. So this is who I am. Who are you? And it was so crazy because at the time, my biological mom and me were on very bad terms. She was in and out of jail. I was visiting her in jail at the time while I was pregnant. It's like Wendy, like she knows how much I love her, but she just came in and like showed me that the world is kind. So I am now a strong mother of 2 children. Never thought that I would say that. I remember watching my mom raise us, or lack thereof. And I remember thinking, I never want to do this. I never want to be a mom. I for damn sure didn't want to get married because all men to me were horrible human beings. My mom was engaged several times, very abusive relationships. And so anyways, fast forwarding to how I feel today, and who I am. Well, number one, I am who God says I am. And I've stopped believing. I've been through a lot in Scentsy. I'm not perfect. I'm a Leo. So I am very outspoken. I lead with my heart, but sometimes my mouth comes out very, I don't know, direct. But I've started to grow into the softer part of who I am. So I'm strong. I'm beautiful. I'm a mentor to thousands of people in Scentsy. I change lives every day. I've gotten several women and husbands collectively out of their jobs because of Scentsy, hashtag income disclosure. But I'm a wife. I am kind of a sports mom. I'm not really good at that yet. I'm working on it. I told Justin we need to get the things for the game. So I'm like, feeling more bougie. But I don't know. I'm a lover of food. I'm a lover of travel. Scentsy gave me that freedom. We were so broke. And my dad grew up in foster care. So he worked 3 to 4 jobs. So I never traveled before Scentsy. I went to Disney World one time, which was a huge trip for us, but we couldn't afford that. And that was because my stepmom came into the picture. And really my stepmom, just to be honest, she changed my life. She came in when I was 10, and I don't know if I'd be here if it weren't for her. I was on a big drinker in high school, did a lot of drugs in college. So she really helped me get through all that. And I'm so thankful. But yeah, and I work Scentsy full time. Obviously my husband, he's an entrepreneur too. He runs businesses. He helps keep my head straight. He helps me not what I call spiral in Scentsy, which we've all been down the spiral, where I just get in my head and I think, oh gosh, there's been so many times, Melissa, when I've been like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I here? So many times I question myself, but Scentsy has made me, it's helped me. Even, I'm telling you, the hard times, the times that have broken my heart in Scentsy changed my heart towards people and changed, just brought me to where I am today. And this is just the start too. There's just so many things I know that are going to come out of my life. I don't know exactly what that means yet, but I know I love people. And my goal is to make everyone's lives better. That's my greatest attribute I feel like I have, but my greatest curse, because I am such a, I know what somebody needs. I know what you need. I want to help you. I want to help you because I had to raise my sister. I had to, take care of my mother. So I'm also, it's not even just a nurturer. I'm like, I need to help you because I know what'll happen if we take the other road, because I grew up on the bad road. but that's also a balance. So I've also learned how to be a bit more calm. I'm unmedicated. That's huge. I was on a crap ton of meds the past 17 years. This is 1 year that I've been off all my meds, Melissa. I stopped this month a year ago. Stopped cold turkey. I know it's a whole other conversation, but I mean, I was on, just to be honest, since it was hard starting up. I mean, I was on Adderall. I was on Adderall as a nurse anyways, but you start running a Scentsy business at the level that really I started, like it took not taking care of myself to the next level. So it was so busy and so fast. I'm sure we'll get into that with like the growth of Scentsy and the growth of being an entrepreneur, trying to having my son, missing the first 3 years of his life because I didn't want to keep coming home and not putting him to bed. And so I had to work those extra hours. I had to coach people on the way to work at 6 a.m. and then I had to coach them on the way home. I was dropping off bag parties. I was doing all those things. But now that I look, I'm like, this is what I fought for. Like I fought for this. And I'm sitting in my office that I built last year because I didn't give up and I fought for this. So I also feel very empowered. I feel like I've empowered myself by just kind of proving myself wrong. I think it'll be 9 years in Scentsy next month. And I just feel strong. I feel purposeful. I feel like I have a purpose and I'm just going to keep going as long as I can.
I'm so proud of you. Now, there's so much to unpack in what you just said, in a powerful message. I'm first and foremost, I'm proud of you because you said, I am beautiful, I am strong, I am powerful. And that I am so proud of you for saying, because you are beautiful, you are powerful, you are strong. Your road has been windy, it's been bumpy, but I want you to lean back in your chair right at this moment. Lean back in your chair real quick. Lean back in your chair. And I want you to look into your office and I want you to be proud. Look what you've done. Look what you've done.
Stop making me cry.
Well, you know what else? So listen. So you know what else is really interesting too is that you said you have a hard exterior and a hard interior.
Yes, I do.
But you know what? It didn't take much to crack you.
I also trust you. I trust you.
Well, so, and you can trust me, but it didn't take much. So your hard interior actually isn't as hard as you think. And the fact that you are vulnerable right now and able to share that part of you, I think is a very powerful thing that you just did for women as well. Because you not only said, I'm strong and I'm beautiful and I'm confident, but you are also a sensitive and emotional woman. And women can relate to both of those sides.
Yeah.
Women can relate when you have to, there has been a time in all of our lives where we have had to buckle down and be strong for our people, whether that's our leaders, our kids, our spouse, our parents. We've needed to be strong. And sometimes we don't even know where that strength comes from. But you have shown that we can be powerful and yet we can be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I think
it's hard.
But that's what contributes to being an inspiring woman, is showing that you aren't just this one way, that you are multifaceted. You did actually, gosh, you grazed the surface of a couple of my questions, so I'm not exactly sure which direction to go. And I want to ask you. Well, so I want to ask you, because you did do this, and this I typically do later on, but I think it fits really well now. I'm going to I want you to rapid fire me. I want you to rapid fire. Tell me all of the things you love. Go.
Family, quality time, gifts, colored pens, coffee, gin, my husband, clothing, shopping, decor, being outside, laying in the grass, swimming, laying out, anything to calm my mind, anything quiet. I like quiet. I like to decompress. I love change, like literally like changing the world, change, like that's always in my head, like just always moving forward, always looking at who can I love on next, who, you know, that's what comes. Oh, essential oils. I love essential oils. What else do I love? I love freaking freedom. I have that tattooed on my chest. I love freedom. I love this. I love Scentsy. I love the women in Scentsy, the men. I love vacations. I love to travel. I love expensive bags. I love leather. Sorry, vegans. I love leather. I love life. I love pictures in my house. I love cooking. I love eating my husband's food that he cooks. I love being able to provide for my kids without having to worry. That was always a struggle for me growing up. I've never had to check my bank account since I've started Scentsy. I've never had to look at it. And I just love being young. I'm 31, so I love being young too.
Did that feel good?
It did. I've never been asked that question ever.
So here's what's so interesting. And I absolutely, you should be able to respond that way. When you feel good about yourself and who you are and what you do, you should be able to respond that way. See, women don't spend enough time reflecting on the things that they love.
Yep.
A lot of times the answer is, I don't know. I've lost part of who I am. I'm bored. I'm boring. I used to love to do this, but I became a wife and a mom and now everybody comes first, and it's natural for us to put others first. We're women.
Yeah.
But when we are able to reflect enough and rapid fire all of the beautiful things in this world and in this life that we love, that is part of the reason you are successful in this business, is because to be passionate about anything, you have to be passionate about something.
Yeah. And I'll tell you too, Melissa, I forgot to say this, like when you asked me my first question, but I remember last year in 2020, we know that was just a heavy, dark year for everybody. And I remember looking at my husband, it was February of last year, and we were sitting in the living room. I weighed the most I had ever weighed in my life. I was pushing 200 pounds. I didn't know what was wrong. A lot of it was medication, stress, not eating right, but the stress was the main factor. And I was having panic attacks all the time. And I looked at him and I was like, I don't know who I am anymore. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was diving so much into Scentsy at the end of 2019 when I had my daughter, and it wasn't the right route. It shouldn't have been that way. I had to shift. I didn't need to party so much. I didn't need to keep up with the Joneses and win top trips in October. But my mindset created this spiral, and I looked at him and I was like, I just don't know who I am anymore. And that was probably like the lowest point of my life. And I changed so much. Like I just changed the way that I worked. I changed not being so accessible to everybody in my group. I love them, but good Lord, they don't see I'm one person and they are many. And it became very much like I felt like a resource to everybody. And I didn't feel human. And so if you would have asked me that a year ago, I wouldn't have been able to answer the question. Like there's no way. I would have just been like, I don't understand the question, because when people are so lost in themselves and they try and fill it with people or things or bad relationships or alcohol or any of those things. I was heavily drinking at that time too, because I don't like people who take Adderall know this, like it's very hard to come down off that at the end of the day. So my stress level was through the roof, already had anxiety, was on Vyvanse, and then couldn't get my anxiety under control. So boom, let's drink wine. I cannot drink wine. I really don't do well with alcohol at all. I mean, my mom's a raging alcoholic. It's in my history. Like it's not a good thing. And so anyways, last year after February, I said, enough's enough. I was like, enough is a freaking enough. Like, this is not well. Like, I cannot lose friendships over this and lose myself over this. And so I got a nutritionist and found one that could help me get on track, because God knows I was trying and I just could not do it on my own. I said, I just need help. I got someone to start cleaning my house once a week. I don't care. Some people be like, whatever. I don't care. We do multiple sports. I run a business. I'm not dusting. I'm not cleaning a toilet anymore. I'm done. So I did these hard, like, this is what we're going to do. I got into therapy with my husband, because we had never been in couples therapy, and we've been together 16 years. It's not been rainbows and freaking butterflies. It's been a lot of times have been really hard. Like that's a whole other thing. Like relationships, you throw that into a business and you're trying to grow this massive business. Like, you know, Melissa, like your spouse sometimes gets the very last part of you. And that happened to me for years. And now he's involved in Scentsy and he actually loves it. Thank God. So, you know, he does help out now, but it's like getting the nutritionist and deciding like, these are my hard no's. Like I'm not doing, I had to decide I'm not doing parties and events on the weekends. I don't want to miss the time with my kids. So how can I figure it out? And I was like, Scentsy Club, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I was so much clearer once I got off the medication last fall, but it's taken a while for me to, I don't even know, like, it's just, my brain was just, I had to rewire my brain. I had to rewire the way I think, the way I work, things I love. And so another thing that I started doing is I started I took my schedule down almost in half. I stopped replying to people on the weekends, but I also took Friday off completely and did email only. At first, my group and team were like, what? But now they know, like, look, I got to take a day for me. Like, I did not leave to do this, to be a slave, like every day, like, because it can feel like that when you're, you know this, Melissa, when you're doing all these things, you want to help everybody and you're helping. And then you just get literally like you get burned out. And a lot of people will say, oh, well, burned out isn't a thing. It is totally a thing. And to people like us who want to inspire the world, we want to change people. We want to get to the heart of people and the soul of people. A lot of times we give our energy to do that. And if you're not replenishing, like this morning before we did this call, I started a new show on Netflix. It was the best thing ever because I knew I needed that time so I could give you the best parts of me, not something I decided to, just script or try and be perfect for. That's a whole other thing too. I had to throw out the window. I mean, when I was my biggest, I didn't want to get on YouTube. I mean, you look at my videos the past 9 years, I looked like a totally different person. And that's fine. I'm finally growing into, I feel like, who I'm supposed to be. But talk about my confidence level was just so low last year. And I think there's so many women too in direct sales. They feel that way and they feel like they can't do what this person is, or you can't do that because you're not freaking them. So I had to push through that and just do the lives, and I'd be holding CC and I would be doing videos. And I mean, I literally look back now and I'm like, I can't believe I was that big, but I was like, I'm proud of my damn self. Like, I'm proud that I pushed through and that I was like, you know what, I'm going to, and I faced so much adversity in Scentsy. I faced adversity with all kinds of things in Scentsy. And a lot of people know that in Scentsy. And I think for me, what I want women to see is you can make it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do a cookie cutter business. To me, Scentsy is the door to your life. It's the door to freedom. It's the door to, Heidi and Orville, I owe them my life. Like, they changed my life by just being kind all the time. Heidi is literally Jesus's sister. I'm sure of it. Like, she's like so holy. I can't even get at the level, So I'm thankful. I feel like they took me in when I was a kid because I was 22 when I joined, and now I'm finally becoming like a woman. And they've been so patient with me. So yeah.
I love who you have grown into. I love this woman that you are. I love that you're able to sit here and say, my road has been shit sometimes.
Oh, it's been horrible. And let's just throw this out there. So I was a nurse, okay? So I had patients and I literally advocated for them, fought with doctors, fought with surgeons, fought to get the right treatment. And I came out fighting. I had to take care of myself at a young age. Again, mom was an alcoholic. She was never home. If there were men in the relationship, they were trying to abuse us. I was having to stand in between them and my sister. So I came into Scentsy, I was in a sorority in college, but sororities are crazy and fun. So it's a different level of crazy in Scentsy, but everybody was like me in my sorority. And that's a whole other topic I'm sure we'll talk about. And I was used to that. You come into a room with all these women and you feel intimidated. I'm not going to lie. I would walk into many rooms in Scentsy my first few years and they would say, certain people would be like, anybody, they'd be like, oh, you're so young. Oh, you're so young. And I just felt so like I've got to prove myself and show these people that I know how to work. And so I faced a lot of adversity head on, number one, because I'd never done this before. And number two, I didn't have any grace for myself. So I would literally just like, okay, this is what's happening today. I'm just going to push through. I mean, there's been many times when I just had to throw stuff away because I mentally couldn't handle dealing with those situations. And now I look back and I'm like, damn, I would have dealt with that so differently. But I'm never the person. I know some people like, it's, oh, would you go back and change things? Like, I really would not, because I wouldn't be who I am. I'd probably be still doing the same thing. You know, not that I was doing it purposefully, but I was grinding. I was hustling. I was trying to change my family's lives. I was trying to change the women and men's lives underneath me. And growing through that, I just think it's like, I don't know. I didn't have any grace for myself. So why would I have grace for others? So that's kind of where I was at probably the first 7 years of my business. Honestly, it was like, and my people know this in my group, I love hard, but if you play games with me, it's a hard cutoff, because I could not deal with, like, my heart, when it gets hurt, it really, like, I'm that person where, like, it really affects me bad. And so I had to learn to not take things personal. I had to learn to give grace. I had to learn to forgive. And it's weird, right? Because it's like Scentsy, but that's like human traits, right? Like things that makes you a better human. So I'm thankful for that, because at the end of the day, somebody can come up to me and tell me they're perfect before they want to come and tell me how I'm not. You know, that's where I'm at. You know, all of us are imperfect people. But what I love about you even doing this series is you're bringing so many strong women together that have so many different stories. And we all have a common goal. Like, we want the world to be a better place. We want people to feel joy, right? And like all these like Scentsy values. So yeah.
Tell me, what has been the best compliment anybody has given you?
I was going to say my husband, when he says I have a good, nice butt.
That's okay too.
I do like those compliments. I had someone send me a screenshot the other day, actually. It was one of my directors, and she's also one of my really good friends. And it was something that somebody had, they inboxed her on it. She sent me a screenshot of it. And she was like, I just want to say, I'm so thankful for you and for Chloe Cox. You guys have changed my life. And those are the messages that like matter to me. Like, I have some SSDs that have walked away from their jobs. So those moments have been really pivotal for me. My best friend just left her job last month as a teacher because she could just walk away. So I think the best compliment is watching actions. Like, I'm an action person. So watching them step into their power and watching them see that it's not me, it's we, that they have the potential to do this. I think watching them too, and watching lives change, and watching these people who were a lot like me. I would never say that to their face, but it's like, because I'm just a hard exterior, but I felt the way that many of them felt, like, this isn't possible for me, or I'm always going to be like this. Or like one of my SSDs, she always says all the time, she's like, it wasn't supposed to be this way. So my goal is like, it's going to be this way with them. I'm like, no, but it's going to be this way. So probably that, just seeing like, you know, the little messages of where I guess content, right? That's what we put out there, our content and our ethics, our work ethic, that it's holding value to changing people's lives and making them better and not bitter. And then seeing it, right? Like you, it's like you see these people's lives change, right? And you've been in this, how long have you been in it, Melissa?
Oh gosh, almost 14 years, almost.
Oh yeah, you're like my Scentsy, like godmother, literally. You're one of my parents.
I would say that one of your greatest compliments probably is also one of the things you would say is one of your greatest rewards in this business. Because if you're setting out and your goal is to help people change their current situations, and you're doing that, I'd say that's probably a really great reward, which then takes me into yet another question. Yet they've all kind of commingled. What keeps you here? What keeps you here?
Definitely the people, the purpose, and I feel like I'm supposed to be here. There's been so many times, I mean, even like a month ago, I had something happen, and I looked at my husband and I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like I said, I don't know if I'm supposed to still be here. And people are probably listening to this like, what? But it's like, you still get to those points where you're like, am I supposed to be here? But then something happens and someone texts you and they say, this is going to be the biggest check we've ever had in our life. Or, you know, I get to walk away from my job. Or look, I'm not missing any moments with my kids. I'm not missing a step. I'm not missing a thing. And that's what kind of keeps me here, because it's not about me. I have never calculated a paycheck a day in my life with Scentsy, ever. I've never done it, not one time. And people can say, oh, well, that's like ridiculous. You should be doing those things. It's not about the money for me. It's about the people, the purpose, and where I need to be. I was making great money as a nurse. But now I look at what's happening in healthcare and I'm like, all right, this is why you pulled me out. You needed me to be strong for another group of people, you know, because there's only so much I could do at a hospital. Hello. With Scentsy, I'm in control of a lot. I can really steer the ship, and I can go on my leadership page and I can just pour value into them genuinely, not because it's scheduled, not because I'm trying to get clout or any of that, but because I'm like, they need this because I need this today. So let me give it to them. And then I get text after and they're like, wow, I was having a really hard time, or, you know, this is going on in my life, or, you know, I'm feeling like this, like, you know, and it's like, you almost become kind of like a therapist, but not, because it's like you can help rewire other people in a positive way that were like me. And like, I didn't grow up that way. I grew up with teachers telling me that I would never do good in this or that because they said I was too snappy. Like, that's been going on for forever. I had a teacher one time tell me that I'll never make it past nursing school. So what did I do? I went to the best nursing school in the country. And then I made sure to send her an email when I graduated and was like, hey, I did this. But again, I think it's just, I don't know. I love everything about where my life is at right now. I wouldn't change it for anything. It's been the hardest 9 years of my life. I'm not going to lie. This business has not been easy, but if it was easy, everybody would do it. If it was easy, there wouldn't be the 1%, and we need the 1% to change the world. We need that because the world is so fixated on absorbing negative energy and just on feeling like I can't do this or I can't do that because they, you know, there's a couple bolts that are loose. Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. But I want to just be able to show people that you can be real, authentic. I have never changed who I am. That is one thing too I'll say about myself. I have never changed who I am. I am the same person as far as my beliefs and values as now as the day I started Scentsy. I love my team, that in group. That's also a downfall for me. I am very bad at separating business and relationships. But in saying that, I'm grateful because I feel like that's a part of my purpose. You know, some people will say, oh, well, keep it all separate. Don't build relationships. If I feel like I need to build a relationship with somebody, I'm going to do it. That's also a whole other thing. Like I'm very invested into developing people to go out and freaking get what they deserve, you know, because, you know, again, with my dad, I watched him struggle, and it's like, now we pay our parents a month. We pay them every month. And to be able to do those things and to be able to get my dad, he's going to retire in 3 years. I literally, like, he gets me really emotional, obviously, but you know, I'm just like, wow, I never thought this would be my life. Yeah. You know, I never thought this would be where I'm at. And this is how I want everybody to feel that wants this. I want them to be able to see it doesn't have to be pretty and perfect. You just need to be authentic. You need to be teachable. You need to evolve. You need to adapt when you need to adapt. You need to learn when to step back when you need to step back. And guess what, dude? That comes with practice. It's practice. We didn't come into Scentsy. I didn't know how to mentor. I was doing IV drips and chest compressions. I didn't know how to deal with women. I literally be like, get out and do it. Because on the floor of somebody, you had to do chest compressions. You didn't have somebody to give you steps. You had to get in there and do it. So when I started Scentsy, it was difficult for me to understand, why are you still not working when I've given you a training? Why are you still not working when I've told you what to do 10 times? But what I had to learn is there's this interior to everybody, especially within Scentsy, and you got some broken people. You got a lot of broken people that are trying to build better lives. And a lot of times that can come off as you got a lot of broken people. It's like, I'm like a fireball. So it's like my close friends know, if they can tell the second I text them a different way, they're like, what's wrong? What's going on? Because I will shut down or I will explode. That's how I used to be. And so now I've just learned to anybody who's listening to this that's in sales, or maybe you're not, maybe you're working whatever job you're working, or you're staying at home, whatever. But you just have to learn that, we're growing. And we live in this world where people should post the right meme, where you should post the right thing. Oh, she didn't post that, I'm going to unfollow her. What is wrong with people? I think it's like, we could be so much better, not if we were together, but authentically together. I want to feel authentic when I'm around you. I want to feel like you're authentic. And if we had more people like us, and like we have awesome leaders throughout Scentsy in that organization. What a better world, everyone's world. I don't want to just change the world within me. I want to change the world around me. And it starts with us dealing with our feelings, learning how to grow massive businesses, learning to give a lot of grace, but also don't take no crap. Because there's been a lot of times in Scentsy where I've just taken the crap, and now I've learned I'm not going to feed into the crap, but I'm going to step out of it. I'm going to step out very quickly. Why? That's not a part of my vision. That's not a part of my purpose. And that's not a part of what I need to do, because it's like, we're also one person. We can't do everything for everybody, but we can do the best that we can do every day.
What I think is so hard in our business is that we are able to see the potential, and we are able to see the potential in our people. But sometimes, a lot of times, we see the potential so much more than they can see it for themselves. And if they don't trust us to continue to guide them and show, they give up. They give up. Yeah. And it's sad, because we're able to see like your success and my success. And I have a woman who joined 2 years ago and is a director. And now everybody's journey is different, but anybody that says, you got in early and that's why you're successful, I call BS on that. BS on that. That's a terrible mindset to have.
Yeah, 100%. And I had a girl join 4 months ago, and she hit director last month, and she also hit halfway to star director numbers. And it was, trust is a funny thing that you said that. I believe, and I teach my team this, how can they listen to you if they don't trust you? And she watched my journey. She trusted me. So when she joined, she cared about what I had to say. It held value. It had substance. She had seen it from me so she could believe it. She had seen it so she could believe it. A lot of people are seeing it from us, and they're thinking that we can't do it. I'm like, dude, there's like less than 400 superstar directors. There should be 20,000. There should be literally like, why don't we have that many people in the circle of excellence? There should be dozens and dozens and dozens. So we've just got to get to this point where people can also realize that you don't have to stop seeing it through us and thinking seeing it is just our belief. Seeing it is your belief. So yeah, I 100% agree. And even when I joined, the boom was kind of over. It was 2012. It was still going good, but the people that got in a little earlier were doing great. Yep. And that's why too, I started building a lot of directors. We have over 300 directors and above in my organization. And when we started building directors, a lot of people were like, what is she doing? What is she doing? What is she doing? And it was like, look, we're just helping people get to where we got. And we're giving them belief, and we're sprinkling a lot of value. And we're literally telling them, look, here's my numbers. Look at my numbers. This is what I did here. This is what I did here. This is how I did this. I always tell my greatest feeling right now too, Melissa. And I was telling one of my superstar directors this the other day. I want them to do it better, faster, and I want them to be stronger than me. I don't want them to have all the hiccups I had. Now they're going to, but me as a mama bear, I want to show them here's a quicker way to get your sales, but to be able to feed in your team. Let's talk about Scentsy Club. Let's grow this together. Last year, a lot of them did that. So it's also like, that is probably like the greatest feeling to me too, is when I see them beat my numbers every month. And when I see them coming up to my TWV and earn trips quicker than me. I'm the kind of person where that would never it doesn't intimidate me. It makes me see, wow, I'm doing a good job. You know what I mean? It's like they're doing it. But yes, we've got to get women and men out of their heads and get them realizing, go grab it, like go take it. Watch people's trainings who have done it. Watch your trainings, watch my trainings, all these successful people, and watch what we've done, and don't get intimidated by it. Get empowered by it, get fueled by it, and then go out there and go get it, you know?
So there's consultants that have been here longer than you that haven't experienced the success that you have. What would you say is the reason for that? Was it a mind commitment? Was it a, we developed these systems and we stuck to them? And what would you say, what is it that sets you apart? Because when you joined 9 years ago, but you didn't come flying out of the gate 9 years ago wouldn't you say your growth has exploded in the last 3 to 4 years?
Yes.
So what happened? Take us through what was the mind shift, and what is it? Because you have exploded. You are doing things that are worth mentioning. I mean, worth noting. Like, what do you say? Like, was it that commitment that you're like, that's it, this is what we're doing?
Yeah, so it was definitely that. So it started I was still a nurse. It started before I decided to go all in and then go part-time, make a plan, make a financial plan, all this. So I walked in one night and after work, and I was doing a coaching call. So I do a lot of calls, a lot of action plan calls. I help people build their business is what I do. Like all of us do, right? We mentor. I walked in and my son was asleep, and I remember, because I had stayed in the car till 9 p.m. to finish the call because I had to do it with her. She needed it, like all these things. And like I missed me and my husband's show and like all these things. And at that point I was like, you know what? I was like, give me a year and I'm going to change our lives. I'm going to change this up. I'm going to not, because it gave me like trauma watching my dad walk in at 9, 10 o'clock at night some nights. And so that was it for me. I didn't want my life to be like that. I didn't want to repeat that cycle. I couldn't do it. Like, I didn't want my kids to miss me seeing them hit the baseball. And like, my dad was never at anything. So that for me, like, I was like, I can do this.
So we can think that. How do you translate that into action? What did you do to translate that?
So I started getting very, very serious about choosing who I wanted to work with and helping develop them. That's probably the basic way to put it. So I would go through my reports and I would pull my people who had the highest amount of sales in my whole group at the time, because I was a superstar director, but at that time I didn't have superstar directors under me. So I was really pulling heavy to find these next people within my group. And so I would pull them. And so Katie Laster is a great example. She's my top producer in our group, period. She had high sales that month. So I just simply started texting these people just to keep it very simple for people. I think they overthink like systems. And yes, you need systems. Every successful business, my husband always says this, operates off a system. Look at Chick-fil-A. They're the best system. My pleasure, blah, blah, blah. So we started thinking systematically also. So we sat down. And my husband, this is funny, nobody ever heard the story of coaching calls and why they started. He was a banker at the time. So I was a nurse full time. I was superstar director. My son was 2 and he was a banker. Well, he was trying to get out of his job because he was not happy. And so at the time we were like, well, let's make a plan because Scentsy can get us out. That was literally it. So it was like mindset, now action, Scentsy can get us out. So he used to use these coaching forms that we first started a long time ago to get people fired. So he would use these forms at work and he would have people fill them out and sit down with them so he could see, are they coachable? Or am I going to coach them in or am I going to coach them out? And so he said, Chloe, you need to start doing this because at the time, and this is something I think that's really pivotal that I've never said before, we spend a lot of time developing dead weight, not in a bad sense, but there's a lot of people we're developing that are Energy Bus is a great book. For people to read, but Justin showed me the energy bus, and what happens with the energy bus is you have people just sucking at your soul all the time, sucking your energy, so you really can't build anything. So we started doing coaching calls. We started picking out Katie Laster. I texted her. That's how I built a connection with her. I started building real relationships with people that were really showing me the money. They were showing me that they got this. They were showing me, okay, you're doing 2,000 in sales. Let's talk about recruiting. So I started literally getting hyper focused on developing leaders. I started getting very hyper focused. My YouTube content got very much systematic. I'm not fluffing around with samples, and I'm not being ugly about it, but I started doing trainings that were, okay, here's a guide to growth program we're going to do with our SSDs. Now everybody has it. Then we created, like, I have so many files I'm willing to share with you too, that you can drop. Like I can share Google Docs with you on just like, okay, you're a lead consultant. I have literally like a leadership doc that they get with all these hyperlinks that shows them, okay, compensation plan and this and that. And here's guide to growth. I want you to watch all of this and then text me. Then we'll set up a Calendly call, or however you say that. I use that app. But I got very, very systematic. I've evolved from the coaching forums actually now. I stopped those last year and created something called action plan calls, because what I realized again from coaching calls, they were filling out a form. So I started action plans about 1.5 years ago. And this has really been pivotal too. The coaching calls were great, but a lot of times they came into the coaching calls, I didn't know what actions they were doing. Actually, none of the times. So you can tell me what your goals are all day long, but if I don't know how far you are from annual mentor, how far you are from annual sales, and if you're a lead and above, we're tracking that now. So now as soon as I get on a call, before we do an action plan call, I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and see how far you are from annual sales, divide that by 7 months. Here's your lowest amount you need to do a month. Annual mentor, kind of behind the 8 ball on that. So I start developing them very, very early on, the ones that want it. And the ones that don't want it, they know that. Like if they don't want a call or whatever, we don't do that. But getting their actions in place for sales, because the 3 things that you need to worry about with Scentsy are sales, sponsoring, and training. That is what you need to be mastering. And we called it the 3 legs of success. So we started the 3 legs of success about 4 years ago. No, I lied, 2.5 years ago. And we started incorporating that. I also drip down a lot, meaning I will drip my brain to my SSDs. So anything that I'm doing, I am sharing with them along the way. This is what I'm doing with this. Here's a new outlook on how, like behind me, I have a new way that I'm pulling leaders right now. I shared it with my SSDs the other day. And then what we'll do too is we will practice these things for about 6 months and see if they work. Then we'll train on them together, so everything is very systematic. And I don't get along with everybody in my group. But again, like I said earlier, that was the problem with me when I was in my sorority, we were all alike. When I got into Scentsy, I had to realize how to navigate all these different relationships and realize that difference makes you beautiful, right? Not everybody's like Chloe Cox. Not everybody's a freaking type A superhero. You know what I mean? Like I am nutso when it comes to vision and all these things. But yeah, so we started doing just a lot of calls about 5 years ago. And I don't mean a lot. I have a cap. I do no more than 10 a month. I only do them on Tuesdays and Thursdays. My hours are 9 to 3, Monday through Thursday, email only Friday. And what that's done too, it's shown my leaders, they don't gotta work 24 hours a day. You need to do what's important. So on my leadership days is when I do my coaching calls. Action plan calls, I call them now. And I focus on 3 actions for PRV, 3 actions for recruiting, and 3 actions for leading. And then we're also looking at what are you going to do to get the result that you want, right? The A times E equals R. So it's very simple. Honestly, like, KISS, A times E equals R, very simple.
Smart. Yeah.
We all know that stuff from school, right? You used to write KISS at the top of your paper. I used to, so I wouldn't have a panic attack. Keep it simple, sis. So really incorporating too, like helping them hold themselves accountable. I don't hold my leaders accountable. I don't text them every day. That's unsustainable. There's no way I could do that at this level. So I also try and teach my leaders how to be independent business owners with the tools. I've created the tools for them. Any leader is capable of creating tools. You can create tools to drive your people to success. I'm a firm believer in not repeating the cycle. So I don't want to make 1 million videos. So if I have a great video, like Justin's making a video next week on reporting, thank God for YouTube. As soon as I get that video, it's going to go out everywhere because I want everybody to be learning the reports that reports, that's something too that we're big on. We have very specific reports that we pull. So we know who to work with also. Okay, who's halfway to this, halfway to that, whatever it is. Because Melissa, as you grow, you cannot just do the double click. That doesn't work when you're over 5,000 people. So I had to learn too, okay, here's the reports I'm looking at for potential directors, star directors, superstar directors. I show my SSDs, then I drip it down. Now they're doing it. So it's kind of like that, and it's dripped down to become this beautiful, and I love all of my top producers. They work all completely different, but it's really cool because they're all doing PRV, recruiting, leadership, and they're focusing on teaching their leaders to do that and helping them do things when they make an action plan with them or do a coaching call that are going to get them to 2,000 PRV, that are going to get them to recruiting 2 to 3 a month, right? So it also helps them, like when we do these calls, it helps them, they don't know, like, they don't understand what's going on. Do you get what I'm saying? Scentsy it can get weird when you look at the compensation plan and they're like, what is this? What is active frontline? So I said, you know what? I don't got time to train on all this. So I'm going to make, a leadership document for when you promote to lead. Here's everything you need to know, compensation training that we did on compensation plan. Here's, I made like a promotion 101 tip and breakdown. And then I have our guide to growth program, and that's what they get. And I literally emailed this last week just to say another system I do. I emailed my team, not my group. And I emailed them and I shared it with my SSD so they could see the email. And it literally it said, hey, want to grow. And the subject said, want to grow. And literally was like, hey guys, I'm doing something this fall with anybody in my team who wants to work and put forth effort. Here's what I send to my frontline people that promote to lead and certified. I send it to everyone, but when my people promote to certified, this is what they get. So I can see what they want to do. And so I've already had several people reply that they weren't even on my radar yet, but they want it. And so, so it's little things like that. And I'm always focused on developing if I'm doing anything, like we have a share page just for our group, because you know what? I didn't like how Scentsy had a share page, or whoever the share page that there was for only directors and above. I need my essentials, certifieds, and leads to master samples, to master customer service, all these things. So we created one, me and my SSDs. I was like, you know what? Last year I said, let's just create one for everybody. So it's things like that develop people sooner rather than later. When someone promotes to star, I recommend that they start a team page, not a chat. You want to be a director, act like a director. So incorporating things and getting them solid in sales, getting them solid in recruiting. So little things like that. And that's the thing too. I practice what I preach. I don't teach my team to do things I'm not doing. I'm not teaching them how to recruit when I'm not recruiting. I'm not teaching them how to get high sales when my sales are 500 a month. I've always trained my team on 2,000 a month. There is no 500 for us. That's a minimum for a reason. So we also teach not high expectations, but like you're gonna evolve very quickly if you want to work this way.
Yeah, and I think duplicatable and sustainable. Those are two things that are huge. Those are buzzwords that I heard come out of that. And and you can't develop people if you haven't identified them.
Yes.
You can't.
Yep.
And I remember when I was a team of 63, and that's when I felt like I lost manageable. Before 63, and this always stands out in my mind, before 63, I felt like I knew people personally. I knew what they were doing. I knew the moment they put an order in because I knew their numbers went up, and how quickly we lose control of that. And so we have to have ways to, and checkpoints and touch points on, we can't develop people if we don't identify them. And it's amazing to me how many leaders in this business don't know how to use the reporting and don't know how to take a look at the numbers and be like, oh, she's consistently doing X amount per month. And if I didn't look at this, I would have not known to develop her. And so I love that you spoke to the actual business side of this, because a lot of our conversation has been about personal growth and in the road that we've traveled to get to where we are. But it's also very important to hear you say, listen, I'll develop you if you want it, but you got to show me that you want it, because if you don't waste my time. That's basically, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but realistically, there's a line of people that do want it. And so we need to, in order to grow our businesses, we need to spend time. And I think I've fallen guilty to that sometimes, because we have friends in this business, right? We have friends that maybe aren't growing their businesses, but we sometimes find ourselves spending a lot of time wanting it more for them than they want it for themselves. And I think the growth in our leadership mindset is being like, I have to give a little bit of that time to somebody that's a little hungrier. And but it's all things that we've had to learn and adapt, as we've grown up in this business.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody that says your direct sales business is a joke?
Number one, I wouldn't even probably talk to them.
Yeah.
I would probably just walk away. But I would say, I'm sorry you feel that way. And I would probably just carry on. I wouldn't even feed any energy into it. Like if you would have asked me that a year ago, I would have been like, oh no, like they want to talk about a pyramid scheme. You're a pyramid scheme, because I don't need to explain myself to anybody. That's kind of where I would just be like, oh, I'm so sorry you feel that way. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say, the amount of money that me and you make, like I wouldn't even feel a need to defend myself, because I'm just so like, I'm in such a good place in my business. But if they said it was a joke, like I said, I'd probably just say, I feel, I'm sorry they feel that way. I would smile and walk away, and I'd go recruit somebody. I'd go get some sales.
Yeah. And I think for us, because we've established ourselves, we've got we have an excellent foothold in our business. But I could see how some of our newer consultants, if they were asked, because sometimes they don't have supportive families yet. They don't have supportive spouses yet. And so somebody says that to them, that can really knock them off their saddle. And so I think, if anything, you and I have the ability to demonstrate there's going to be people that say those things, that don't believe in our business, don't believe in our business model. But you and I can be proof, along with others within Scentsy, can be proof that it is something different than that. And that we're not doing something that, I don't get up every single day and struggle to do what I do, because I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And if what I do, I feel like anybody that says that, it's because they're threatened by the success and lifestyle I've been able to live because of it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, again, a lot of people this is not normal. What we do is not normal. I know for a fact I probably have customers who just can't even believe that we're still doing this. When I left my job, I'll never forget, literally, hang on one second. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Hello, Justin Cox.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
But I'm sorry, what did you just say, or what was I saying?
No, and well, shoot, I forgot what we were saying. What did I just say? And anybody watching this is going to be like, well, I know what you just said. Oh, and we froze, didn't we?
Yeah, there. No, but yeah, just even regarding people that don't, I guess, believe in someone else's business, I think it's because this is like I had said a minute ago, this is very abnormal. This is not normal in other people's eyes. I think it's going to be a part of the new normal, and more people are going to be gravitating to making their own money at home. That is going to be huge in 2022. I believe that very well. So if you are a consultant, I would just say buckle up, because this is going to be an incredible fall in 2022 for you. But I think it's all about just gravitating towards the people who do believe, right? The circle of belief is always going to be so much smaller than the circle of unbelief, right? Because again, everybody is damaged in a different way. Everybody is, whether they damaged themselves or someone damaged them, or, there's so many reasons for us not to believe. So I guess my tip for that would be for them to just engulf yourself around positive people. Follow positive people on social media. Follow people that are breathing life. Follow people that work every day. There are some days that I don't even want to get out of bed because I'm still struggling with my depression. My sister is schizophrenic. My mom is manic bipolar. My aunt is manic bipolar. I mean, I've really had to work myself out. And so, I've had to push through many days, and I've had to just work. But like Jen Anderson has taught me since day one, don't let a temporary feeling affect your 2-year dreams. And I live by that. I breathe by that. I look at my kids just like you look at your kids, and you're like, I'm going to create a legacy for you. I'm going to leave this earth, and it's going to be so big for you. And there's going to be, so you can do whatever you want. You don't want to go to college. What do you want to do? You want to be a marine biologist? What do you want to do? You want to go, wherever? Like, I want to be able to provide for them and their families and their families. So it's like once people believe in themselves and they surround themselves by people who give off that literal aura, not just in what they type, but in how they live, how you see them living, when you talk to them, how they are, it's going to inspire them to be able, because that's literally, the world wants you to be miserable. The world wants you to be mad, angry, pissed off. They want you to think you can't look like that supermodel. I'm not a supermodel. I'm not going to ever be a size 2 again. I'm fine with that now. But it took me, honestly, as a woman, a long time. Like, and I was going through Scentsy in my 20s. I was young. So having 2 kids, getting, you know, not taking care of my health. So my weight was out of control, allowing way too many people into my life that shouldn't have been into my life. You allow these things to happen, and then boom, you wonder why you're at the place you're at. But that's why I'm all about rebuilding. I always tell my team, I'm like, tomorrow's a new day, because I had to tell myself that last year. I had to wake up if I had a bad day, or if I didn't, you know, get bookings or recruit. And I had to be like, you know what? It's fine. I made my bed. Tomorrow's a new day. I had to start saying that out loud, actually. And I think that helped me a lot. I had to start saying out loud, like, graceful terms to myself, to be kinder to myself, because it's hard too when you're around, like, not around, but there's negativity in Scentsy too. And I have a lot of heat come down on me. A lot of people don't like my success, a lot of people. And I said, I'm sorry for them. I feel bad for them, because at the end of the day, everyone should want everyone else to be successful regardless of your differences. And so I had to teach myself, even if external things, because in therapy, the first thing my therapist said, he was like, get rid of external stressors. I said, what? How? How do I get rid of that? How do I get rid of, you take with the bad and mentoring? And I was like, well, that's not an option for me. So he was like, okay, well, this is how you can deal with it. He said, increase your no. You need to decrease your yes. You need to quit being as accessible. So I pulled a lot of things too I was doing with my group, not in a bad sense, but I also didn't want them to get to this place and to be the way I am.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Sure. Okay. So I leave us with something.
Okay.
Anything you want. Leave us with something. It could be business related or not. What's your message? What's your message? What do you want to be remembered for?
That I did not give up, that I pushed through, that I worked through myself in this process. And, you know, you're young too, we're young. So I'm just so grateful. And I just want people to know, like, just don't give up, push through. If you're having a bad day in your business or in your family life, just step back for a minute and breathe. When I was going through some really hard times last year, my best friend would call me and she would be like, I need for you to breathe. So people need to breathe. They need to take some breaths, some deep breaths, 3 breaths, and then try again or try tomorrow. Because every day that you decide that you're not worthy or that you can't do it, every day it's just going to make it worse and worse. So push through that. Turn positive music on. Drink water, dude. Take care of yourself. I didn't for a long time. The 4th leg of success, I didn't even say this, it's self-care. It's the stool. So we have PRV, recruiting, and leading, and then we have self-care, the one you sit on. Because if you don't take care of yourself, I don't care how good you are to schedule Calendly, your makeup, any of it. If you don't take care of yourself in this business, you'll fall. So please take care of yourself. Go outside. That's why I said I love laying in the grass. I'll do that. I ground. I do all that stuff. But please don't give up, because me and Melissa, we need you guys.
We do. You are fantastic. You're fantastic. Don't hang up. You guys, thanks for tuning in.
Bye.